So now we're moving into like the mental part, which is probably the hardest part and the most individual part. Have a training diary where you rate your shape from every training, because that way you can know more or less when your best shape is, and then you can like increase the probability of being in good shape under the competition.
Yo, what is up, guys? I hope you are all doing super well, and I want to welcome you guys to the second edition of the Standouts podcast. Today, I have with me the pleasure of introducing a very, very special guest. He just came off his 5th World Championship win. He is 23 years old, professional football freestyler from Norway. I'm sure most of you guys listening to this already know very well who he is, but I have the pleasure of introducing to you guys today Erlend Fagerli.
Thank you a lot for having me.
Yeah, it is honestly a pleasure, bro. Yeah, crazy. So, 5 world championships, man. Like, what does that feel like? I mean, just talk to us about it. What are you thinking in your head? What are the feelings like right now?
Like right now, I don't feel that much actually. But winning World Championship always feels good there and then. It's really like a great feeling there. But this feeling doesn't last that long actually. It lasts for a few days, and then it's back to like a steady state of happiness.
Oh.
But so it really feels good to win, and that's like a part of my big goals in freestyle is to do well in competitions. But it's not my only goal, and it's not like my only focus. So of course it feels really good, but yeah, the happiness from winning a competition is not forever.
Definitely. And just for, we're going to get into a little bit of your training philosophy and your goals. But, just for some people who are watching who may not know you, how did you get into freestyle, and when did you start, and how has the progression looked like for you over the years?
I started freestyle in 2009 together with Brynjar, my brother. I assume most of you know him. In the years before freestyle, we were doing a lot of sports. That was like our free time activity, like football, ski jumping, cross country skiing, table tennis.
Oh, wow.
Just we loved this so much, just being active. And I think I especially like football and sports involving a football. And I felt like I had a talent with my touch of the ball, like the ball control in general. And in 2009, when we discovered freestyle football, it was like it just clicked, like we had like this empty space where we wanted to do something new, and we found freestyle football, which was just perfect for us, and we just started training. And I don't know if you want to take the whole evolution, but like, yeah, we started in 2009 and just kept going. And the first years, it was just pure passion. We made videos, we just trained so much, went to our first freestyle football competition and meeting, which was so fun. And from there it's been like 4 years maybe, where it's basically driven from our passion and desire to just train. And then I think like in 2013 it was a bit of a dip in motivation. But that summer we we decided to, okay, maybe we're not so motivated now, but okay, we want to join Superball, which is the Open World Championship in the end of the summer. So let's just train the whole summer and just see where it goes. And I don't know if you remember, but I came top 32, which was really unexpected. I beat Gunter in elimination.
Really? Which, in 2013?
Yeah, honestly, I was not at his level then, but I beat him there. And Brynjar came top 8, actually. Wow. And it was just, we saw that it was possible to become really good in freestyle. And we started loving it so much more. And from then we kind of decided to put in the work and see where it can take us.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, that was before I even knew what freestyle was. So, you know, you guys have been in the game so much longer than I have. So 11 years. So talk to us a little bit about like your training philosophy, how you go about your training routine, and also how that structures into your overarching goals.
Yeah, I can shortly talk about my goals in freestyle before I go into the training, because of course I have a goal of doing well in competitions, and I want to be in the top level. But as I said, that's not the only goal. Another goal I have is just to enjoy the freestyle life. I really enjoy the training, like the flow state. To have a flow state in training is maybe the best feeling ever. And just traveling, meeting new people, having shows, and actually just being able to pick up a ball and impress people is kind of fun. So that, and also maybe my overall goal in freestyle is to just keep training consistently and evolve and see how good I can become. And I feel like year by year that you can always become better, like no matter what level you are at. Because right now I kind of can't see that many ways to improve like right now, but I know there are ways. I just put in the work and you will improve. And also I hope to be an inspiration for others and for them to find their passion in life, and hopefully that's freestyle football.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of seen that. It's just like those cognitive theories. It's like breaking the 4-minute mile. You know, back in, I don't know what the year was, but you know, when someone broke the record for the 4-minute mile, people were like, that's impossible, like that can't be done. And then once the 4-minute mile was broken, I think within the next year, don't quote me on this, I could be completely wrong, but within the next year, it was like 6 people broke the 4-minute mile. So it's like, I definitely get what you're saying, but at the same time, you know, when you just keep pushing yourself, you can achieve something, and then you can break that barrier that just allows you and also others to go so much further as well. So and I think everyone who's watching who's a freestyler can definitely agree that like they would see you, I don't know how many years ago, doing like the craziest transitions and like the craziest things, and you sort of like opened a doorway for a lot of freestylers in order to be able to push their limits in that way. Because it's like, I genuinely believe if you hadn't come along and sort of pushed the transition style in the way you did, there wouldn't be so many freestylers that are very high level in transitions now. Because it's like what you were doing 5-10 years ago, people would be like, yeah, that's not possible. But it's like you're doing it now and you're just always pushing. So yeah, it's very interesting. So you talked about flow state being an integral part of your training. So can you talk to us a little bit about your training routine and what you do on a consistent basis in order to be able to achieve those goals that you talked about?
Yeah, so my week to week training usually consists of 2 training sessions every day, 5 to 6 days a week. So, and it's been
Wow.
doing that for the last 6 years. So it's been really a lot of quantity over the last years. And I think that's maybe the main reason I've been able to improve so much, just because I put in so much time. So, yeah, I like to talk about the 3 Qs or Cs, which we call it, which is quality, quantity, and continuity. So I talked about the continuity, which is like just keep it going. Like you will always have bad days, and you will have good days, and you will have like normal days, and that's just the way it is. But if you keep going, the curve of your shape and general level will slowly and steadily like always go up, even though you have like ups and downs. So continuity is yeah, just so important. And also not just continuity over like 1 week or like 1 month
Yeah,
or
of
1 year.
course.
Like I like to think about how yeah, I remember thinking this like 5 years ago. Where could my level be in 5 years? Like where could my level be in 10 years? And it's so much cooler to think that way than to think, oh, how could my level be tomorrow?
Yeah.
So you don't want to like finish your training now because you feel bad, because it's a long journey if you want to freestyle. Like to really become good, you have to do it for a long time, and you have to keep going. So yeah, continuity
sure.
is very important. And also the quality of your training, of course. The last 2 years, since 2018, we kind of switched. When I'm talking about we, I'm talking about Brynjar and me, because we are training together. So if I say I and we, it's kind of the same. Okay, so since 2018, Brynjar and I switched specifically our lowers training from going from pushing each combo to the limit. Like every combo we wanted to do as well as possible. And we always got so tired from each combo, and after like half an hour, our combos just got worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like the first half an hour, it was really good. We got a lot of accomplishment from that. But when we started to have more sessions in the flow state, where we didn't break the threshold for acid in our muscles, we improved really so much faster.
Really?
We could have training sessions where we were training lowers for 1 hour, 10 minutes, and each combo was so technically and energy-wise really good. But we stopped before we got really tired.
Wow.
Okay. So I could do an example. Before we did maybe 25-second combo every round, and we're doing hardcore that way. After half an hour, we get tired.
I got you.
But now we took it like 10 to 15 seconds, and then we could just focus so much better on each lower trick in that combo. And when you started to get tired, you stopped. and then you get energy back so much quicker. New round. Stop, like 15-second lower combo, stop, and back. And there is the quantity and quality. I don't know, it's a pretty basic philosophy in training to not always get acid in your legs. Like running, you don't always go all in. You do that in like when you're training cardio, but if you're a runner, you don't do that all the time. Like we still train hard and push our combos, but not every time. So this way we increased our quality and quantity.
Wow.
We can train more and also with better quality. And this also counts for all-round training and everything else, but especially lowers.
Okay, wow. So that's very interesting to hear. So you're taking a very like scientific approach to this. So can you just like break down like what that acid threshold means, just for someone who might not really know? Because like I don't really know what that means, to be honest.
Okay. It basically means when you start to feel pain in your legs because you're tired. So when you start to feel that, you should stop your combo.
Okay.
Not every time, of course. You have to push yourself too, but not every time, in my opinion. And we also felt the sessions were a lot funnier because we could have so much quality in a longer period of time.
Okay. And so does that help to improve the muscle memory? Because what I've heard from like different movement athletes is if you're practicing the same thing, for example, like lowers, if you're just like drilling like, okay, I do this combo over and over, and you get tired and your muscles fatigue and you start doing it incorrectly, then your muscles remember it incorrectly. So is that sort of like the angle that you're taking as well?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Okay.
We don't want to train when we don't feel good because then we might learn it the wrong way.
Got you. Okay. Well,
but also, I think it's important to point out that you shouldn't, of course, not train like that all the time. You need to be tired as well sometimes, but not every training session. And it's good sometimes to train when you're tired as well, because sometimes you might be tired when competing, and you should have experienced that before. But you can do both. And I think more of lower intensity is better.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's a...
But...
Yeah, keep going.
But yeah, that's also maybe on the premises that you train 2 training sessions a day, 5 days a week. Like, it doesn't work for everybody, and I understand that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember when I was in Holland with Jesse, he would do like the 2 training sessions a day. And at the time, I'd never really heard of like 2 sessions. I was like, what, are you crazy? Like 2 sessions? But yeah, I actually found out that Augusta does that as well, and you guys do that as well. So I think there's some validity to the two training sessions, given how world class all you guys are. So that's very, very interesting. And so you broke it down. I guess it's 2 Qs and a C. So it's quality, quantity, and continuity. So the quality being like how well you're training, the quantity making sure that you don't overtrain your muscles, learn things incorrectly, and then the continuity, it's a patience game. Don't expect to be world champion overnight.
Yeah.
So that's very, very valuable. And I know one thing that you wanted to talk about as we were sort of pre-discussing this is performing under pressure, because I know that's something that a lot of freestylers struggle with. So like, especially you've been in probably the highest pressure scenarios of any freestyler. So how do you cope with that?
Well, I think we should start with the premises here as well, because I think if you have good tricks and you feel consistent on them, I think it really increases your confidence. So the first step is usually to feel consistent in training. So if you don't feel the consistency in training, you shouldn't expect to feel it in competition.
Of course.
And the mentality under competitions is very individual. Like, it's different from person to person and also from competition to competition. So, but I can speak for myself when I say this, but I can't speak for everyone.
Of course.
So I can go through like how I prepare maybe like from 1 month before a competition, because I feel like having a good preparation makes you relax more on the day. So basically creating like a brief overview of the moves you have and trying to really be consistent on them and try to prioritize which moves you would like to use. And also it really helps to have a training diary where you rate your shape from every training, because that way you can know more or less when your best shape is, and then you can like increase the probability of being in good shape under the competition.
So in terms of like the time of day that you train, what do you mean like increasing that probability?
It was a bit messy, but like the general concept of having a training diary and writing down how good shape you were shows kind of a trend. Like when I trained this intense, I was not so good the next days, but when I then relaxed, I was really good.
Okay. So it's kind of knowing like your form of like, kind of like a wave, I guess, like how it flows.
Yeah.
Like you train a lot one day and then maybe the next day you're horrible, but then the next day you're like super good. So it's just like finding out that balance. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's just try to replicate that before the competition.
Okay.
So when you have like the overview of the moves you want to do, like in general, of course you have to improvise in competition, but it's good to have kind of an overview of the moves you have and also try to top your shape. So now we're moving into like the mental part, which is probably the hardest part and the most individual part. But I like to focus on a few different aspects before competitions. I repeat like the things I learned from before, which is like the Hedonic treadmill, which I was talking about. Like, this competition doesn't mean everything. Like, you don't go to heaven if you win.
Yeah.
Even though it's amazing, it's like nobody dies if you fail. So it's not that scary. And also, I like to focus on that this is where I want to be. Like, sometime I have to compete, and now I feel like I'm here, everything's set. Like, even though I'm nervous, that's all natural. But this is where I want to be. Like, I want to compete. Like, I love this. And also, I try to focus on being aware of my surroundings more than before, actually. Because if you look at the audience in general, like if you go to a stage, you know, you walk and you're nervous and you kind of look on the audience like this, like, ooh, it's scary, you know? or look at the judges and like, ooh, I don't want to look at them, it kind of undermines your nerves. So I actually like to just look at how it is. Like when I'm going to stage, I often just look at the audience, like accept it, like they're here to give us energy.
Yeah.
And I often try to like maybe focus on one person and see like how excited he is to see these battles. And like, I can use that. And we're just here to have fun and enjoy and try to do as well as possible. And yeah, just enjoy it.
Wow. That's,
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, that's a very interesting perspective, because I think a lot of the times, especially from top athletes like you hear them, and the way that they talk about their sport and their mode in the competition is almost like obsessive, like too obsessive in a sense, where it's like, I have to win this. Like, if I don't win this, then like this will crush me, or this will, like, I have to do it, or it's the end of the world. Whereas your approach sounds very different. It's like, yeah, I'm here, you kind of like, you ground yourself again. It's like, the reason I'm here is to enjoy this. And that's very interesting hearing that approach. So was it always like that? Did you always have that mindset, or did you sort of have to force yourself to change into that mindset?
No, I kind of changed. Like, I think I cracked this code in 2015.
Oh, okay.
Actually, like before that, I was very worried about what people would think of me.
Oh.
Like, if I dropped or if I didn't do a good enough lower combo or whatever, I was kind of afraid of what people would think of me. But at that moment, after my battles, I just looked at other battles and like, I don't care if that guy dropped. Like, and then like that fear kind of disappeared. It was a pretty gradual transition there, but
wow,
also kind of like it just clicked in 2015. Like, yeah, and after that, you like continuously learn from competition to competition that you're different from competition to competition. It always feels different on the stage. So I think I've just been more aware of my mentality over the years, and that you just have to see it for what it is and not what you want it to be. Like, wow. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's a very self-aware, very like accepting perspective. It's almost like a kind of like gratitude perspective. Like, you're kind of just thankful for the opportunity to be there and just to be able to do what you enjoy doing on a stage. So I like that. That's sick. So just very quick, because I know you didn't really break this down. Can you sort of explain like what the hedonic treadmill means? Like, just in a basic terms?
Yeah, maybe I should I can search up the definition, because I think that's pretty descriptive.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, hedonic treadmill is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes.
Yes. Okay.
And that is very important to be aware of, like, especially in freestyle, because if you win a world championship in freestyle, that itself doesn't give you very much. Like, it could give you more shows, more opportunities because you're a world champion, but in itself, not really that much. Like, there's no guarantee you will get more famous if you win a competition in freestyle now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very powerful to hear coming from someone like yourself, because I think a lot of the freestyle community does. The phone is really loud. Can you wait? Hold on. Let me close the door. Let's pretend that didn't happen. All right. So, yeah, it's very like important to hear that from someone like yourself who has been through the process of winning world championships, because I think a lot of people, especially like myself, more towards the beginning when I was freestyling, like I sort of had this like false hope and maybe a little bit of delusion when it came to like what freestyle can really bring you. And so I think it's very important to have that perspective. And I know we talked a little bit about this like before we started the formal conversation. So maybe we can just reiterate like what we were saying before, so that, you know, the viewers can get your perception on it as well. So like you were talking about how like, you know, you do it mostly for the enjoyment of the sport, the self-improvement, you know, inspiring others, and that's the reason why you do it. So yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you said it pretty well, I think. And but everyone is different, and like, let's say Andrew Henderson, he uses very much that he's a world champion and he makes a living from it. But
yeah,
I would say that's not primarily because he's a world champion. I would say that's primarily because he's worked a lot to live from freestyle.
Exactly.
You can see how often he posts on social media, how much he works to get the right jobs. So if you want to live from freestyle, that's something else.
Yeah, no, like, thank you for breaking that down, because I think a lot of young generation kids, like, you know, it's easy for people that have been freestyling for a bit longer. I mean, I've only been freestyling for 5 years, so I guess not that long. But like, I sort of see that picture now, whereas someone who's been freestyling for maybe 2-3 years, they still think, oh, if I win what Red Bull Street Style, then like, you know, this company will contact me, this thing will happen, and all of these things. But the reality is like, it's an amazing thing. I mean, you've proven yourself as one of the best freestyle athletes, possibly of all time. I mean, I don't want to start debates, but can't deny it. But yeah, just very important for, you know, younger generation to hear that from you, that you should do it for the competition, for your own self goals, not to expect that if I win this, I'm going to be able to make some money or something. Because I think a lot of people do have that delusion. So it's good that you cleared that up.
Yeah, and having that said, it's in order to live from freestyle, I really think you should have a good level in freestyle.
Yeah.
Like, you should have a passion for freestyle and enjoy that as well, of course. And it helps a lot to have a high level in order to live from freestyle as well. Like, I think the general audience can see the difference between a freestyler who has been freestyling 3 years and one who's done it for 10 years. Like,
yeah,
it is a difference, and to live from freestyle, you have to enjoy to train freestyle and be good at it. But competitions per se won't give you like the money for the rest of your life. Let's say it that way.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so right now you are obviously like an amazing freestyler, winning things left and right, but you're also a student as well. So, you know, can you talk to us a little bit about like, you know, how this is all aligning for you and how you're able to manage freestyle and studies at the same time?
Yeah, I will try to say that shortly. I think combining freestyle with studies is basically a great way to focus on your freestyle. because I think being a student, especially in Norway, maybe it gives you a lot of freedom, because I'm studying part-time, so I don't have the same speed as everyone else. So my day does not only consist of freestyle. I have like something else to go to, like something else to work on, and that might be like my main point here, is that in general in life you need like a balance between different elements, like between for me it's like a balance between training, between studying, and between socializing with family, friends, and just relaxing, and just having fun with different other activities. So at least for me in Norway, it is a great way to live as it is now. And I think that for me, I am improving a lot more in my freestyle if I am studying than if I were to try to live from freestyle. Because
why do you think that is?
Because if I would have to worry about living from freestyle, I think I would prioritize a lot more energy on filming and always doing social media. And I just think that combining freestyle with studies in my part of life is a great balance.
That's interesting. Yeah. So that's actually something that I've found as well, is that with my training, it can become very difficult to sort of balance, like, you know, training and sticking to like a good schedule, but also it's like you want to create content, so you know you have to go out and film for 2 hours, but it's like that makes you tired, and in a way that can be almost frustrating in a sense, because it's like you want to devote, you know, ultimately, like I feel like what we're both getting at is like you want to work smart rather than hard. So it's like if you're constantly doing something all the time, it doesn't necessarily mean that like you're gonna be better at it. Sometimes it's better in order to like diversify, and also if you're doing multiple different things, then you get sort of a wider perspective as well, as opposed to someone who is just sticking to one thing and it's like just freestyle. It's like you almost become very close-minded, like very narrow-minded, but you're with your studies and, you know, with you seeking that balance in your life, it gives you this more holistic vision. I think this could be maybe part of like what you were talking about earlier with the competitions, is you're like, it's exactly. Not everything in the world. Yeah,
exactly. It's like like the package of life you want to have is like, for me, this is what I want now. And it's like if right now, if I were to break both of my legs, I would have something to go to.
Yeah.
And also like, it's not the end of the world if you fail in a freestyle competition.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, it just like it blows my mind, because like you're so successful in freestyle, and I would expect you to be one of those people that's just like, no, I just train, I don't do anything but freestyle. But you're very holistic, and that's very interesting to see. So yeah, so
I can say that like when I'm training, it's like I have, of course, like big goals and high visions, but well, as I said, like you need to have the balance. Like no one is superhuman, you know?
I don't know, bro. Some of the combos you do, this is crazy, bro. But so I do want to talk, before we end, a little bit more about your mindset. So, a big reason why I started this brand and this podcast specifically is to talk about the theme of self awareness and getting to know yourself. And so, I know as a freestyle athlete in general, especially you as an athlete at the highest level, you've taken the time to get to know your mindset, but also your own body. So, it's like, can you talk to us a little bit about what you do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order to better learn more about yourself and what you want and what your goals are, and also your strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah. I think health-wise, I think it's really just important to focus on the basics. And the basics is both easy and very hard. And by that, I mean, I'm always trying to get enough sleep, because I know if I don't, I will just not feel that good.
Yeah.
And I try to eat as well as I can. Like, I don't stress about it. I don't plan anything I eat, but I just eat healthy, and that's good. And just having meaningful activities in your life, like for me, freestyle and studies, and focusing on like working, but also having time off. It's like, I think, for me, it's just like focus on the basics is so much more important than, for example, getting lost in like one theory, like I want to stop eating for 1 week and then I will be healthy, or something like that. Or like the basics is the most important, and I feel like that's the conclusion so often for me. And you were talking about, one of the questions were like my strength and weaknesses, or
So how do you, because I think like one of the most important things, to ultimately live a happy, successful life, is to figure out like to know yourself, learn about yourself and what your strengths are and your weaknesses are, so that you can execute on that. So what do you do, like how have you developed an awareness of yourself over the past 11 years? Like, how do you learn about your strengths and be able to figure out what your weaknesses are? Because I think there are a lot of people listening to this right now, and they will say like, well, I don't really know what I'm good at, and I don't really know what I'm bad at. Also, I don't really know what I like. So it's like, do you have any tips for people to sort of figure out what they're good at and what they're passionate about? Because like you said, it's very important to have those meaningful activities, but there's a lot of people that might be sitting here and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what's meaningful for me. So how can they find that out about themselves?
Yeah, that's really difficult. Like, but I think one part is just to don't be afraid of trying new things. Just try to be open. And if you're afraid, if you feel that, okay, this would be good for me. Like, I know you have scenarios where like, I know that this would be good for me, or could be good for me and could be fun, but at the same time, I don't have the guts to do it,
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, it's just try to ignore that feeling. Like, kind of like, it's good to accept that feeling, like, okay, what do I feel? What do I fare with it, like, specifically? So, say you want to go to an event, but you're scared. Like, what is it you're really afraid of? And try to break it down. And also sometimes you just have to be irrational and just go try. just try stuff and just live. I don't know. I don't know what do you think, Sammy?
Yeah, so it's very much a thing of like, maybe the reason you don't know what you like is because you've never had the courage to just go do it. It's like a lot of people, they think, especially now in our society nowadays, there's so much noise, like people telling you, this is what you have to do. This is, the kind of life that you have to live that's going to make you happy. And the problem is that, no one can tell you what makes you happy. It's not possible. And so, this camera keeps turning off. Oh, the card's full. Okay. Oh, well. But yeah, so it's a thing of just having the courage, honestly, is like kind of what you were saying. Just being able to, listen to what's inside of you, and then whatever your head is telling you that may be negative, just have the courage to say no and then just try and do it. And so I think that's a very important thing, because I think as human beings, we have certain emotions and certain feelings that make us human. And it's very hard to ignore those. And I think that's one of the most important things you can get out of life, is to figure out what really makes you happy. And so, like you're saying, sometimes that just involves, all right, I really feel passion and drive for this, but the whole world is telling me no. Even my own head is telling me no, but I still got to do it because I know inside of my heart that can make me happy. So that's kind of the perspective that I see it from. And yeah, do you want to say something, or?
No, I agree, and it's like that's individual for everyone. And
of course,
as you said, like you have to find your own way.
Yeah.
And or like you don't have to, but you will get a lot more satisfaction if you do find your own way.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things that annoys me is
like you don't have to do anything in life. Like you can just do nothing, but well, what's the point of that,
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of people nowadays that like they think they can tell you what's gonna make you happy, and it's like, no, you can't. Like I can't just tell you, like, Erlend, like, if you quit freestyle and go do wrestling, it's gonna make you happy. Like I don't have any authority to say that. I mean, I would never say that.
Maybe. I don't know. No. Could be.
Oh my god. Yo. But it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that they think they know what destination will make you happy, but it's more just like it's coming to realize the emotions that you feel and be able to know which destination is right for you. And then you can consult other people on like, okay, how can I get there? So it's like, I'm sure you as a freestyler, there have been a lot of people that told you, like, don't freestyle, why are you doing this? Like, this is a bad path. Like, with anything in life, there's people that tell you, like, don't do it. But you knew inside of your heart that you had to do that. But then, so you didn't let those people influence you. And then you asked other people, okay, I know where I'm going, now tell me how I can get there. So it's like, almost like blocking people out unless they can help you on your path. Then you can listen to them.
Yeah, but yeah, I totally agree. But also you have to be like kind of you can't just ignore the life itself either. Like I know you know this and most of the people know this, but it's like, of course, follow your passion, but like if you have to do this work in order to save your mother, for example, like of course you have to do that because that's your obligation and you love your mother, and so there are some things in life you just have to do. But if you have like if you're so lucky that you have the freedom to do something you love, if you have that, go ahead, like enjoy.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid.
Yeah, there's actually a very good one of the people that I've read a lot about is Robert Kiyosaki. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's the author of a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he talks about basically breaking down. It's mostly a financial book, but one of the things that he says that really stuck out to me was, don't do what you love, invest in what you love. So what he means by that is like, sometimes getting to do the thing that you love and like crafting the life that you love involves doing a ton of stuff that you hate doing. So it's like, I'm sure there have been days where you've gone to training and you're just like, I don't want to do this, man. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But you know in your head that you have to get through that in order to become that world champion that you want to be. So I think that was one of the biggest things that stuck out to me regarding, like, yes, follow your passion. And of course, the road is going to be bumpy. But if your passion is strong enough, then you're going to be able to withstand any road in order to get there. So
yeah, that's great point.
So yeah, I mean, if you have any other like topics that you want to talk about, I know we've been talking for a bit now. Actually, it is 1, although we had like 45 minutes of just trying to get the Zoom to work. But yeah, so I guess just last like tips that you have for any freestyler that's starting freestyle, maybe they're a few years in order to maximize their own performance and just improve at freestyle.
Yeah, that's of course individual, but me myself in the beginning at least found a lot of satisfaction in learning the basic moves like really well.
Oh, okay.
I felt like I could, when I went to the next stage of, for example, like LATV, like Double Around the World, from like the basics, I learned it a lot quicker, and I felt it was easier to improve in general as well when I had like the foundation. So yeah.
So
foundation is important.
Make sure you don't get ahead of yourself. Really, what you learn it well, and then go on to other things.
Yeah, and also, of course, I'm not here to bind you. Do whatever you love. Like, do what you want to train. There's no rules in freestyle. Just go ahead. Yeah. Of
course. Well, thank you so much, bro. This has been a super, super informative talk. And again, I don't think I said congratulations yet on the interview, but congratulations on
Thank you.
5th World Championship, bro. Absolutely crazy. That's not even counting double routine and the other stuff that we're talking about. So absolutely next level. So people that are watching this podcast, I can link your Instagram down below. Is there any other resources that you would want to give to people where they can reach out to you or check out your work?
No, just Fagerli Brothers on all social media.
Awesome.
Which is me and Brynjar, my brother, which is also at almost the same level.
Oh, yeah. Yo, I don't know what he's going to say about that, bro.
Actually, I consider us as equals, but no, I'm not going to say anything more. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, though. I will say this, if I may, is that it seems like he beats you, but like in the less important competitions sometimes. But then in the World Championships, you tend to beat him. So, I don't know. Like this year, he beat you in Norwegian, and then you won World. And then I think 2017, he beat you in Scandinavian, and then you won... No, did you win in 2017? No, you didn't. Okay.
No.
I'm completely wrong.
Brynjar won European that year, actually. So.
European. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of 2016. Okay.
Yeah, 2016.
2016.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then you won
won-
world champion in 2016.
Yeah, and Norwegian and European. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was arrogant.
No, bro, I mean, that's why we have you here. So,
Yeah.
guys, make sure to follow Erlend and his brother Brynjar. They're always posting amazing stuff on their Instagram, and just like, if you've never seen freestyle football before, I mean, you're not gonna have any words when you see what these guys are able to do. So definitely check that out. And thank you so much, Erlend. It was really a pleasure. It was really a pleasure being able to have you on the podcast. And yeah, best of luck for the future, bro. And yeah, I just can't wait to see where you keep going a few years from now. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone that was watching.
Yeah, thank you a lot. It was a really good conversation, and I will listen to your podcasts from now on. I think they will be interesting.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.